Clean air, clean living. Simple steps to protect your brain. A landmark study from Southern California followed a group of women in their 70s who showed no signs of cognitive decline. Over the next 5 to 10 years, researchers discovered something alarming. Those who lived in areas with heavy air pollution experienced significantly faster cognitive decline than those living in cleaner environments. Dr. Ray Dorsey, professor of neurology at the University of Rochester, says this finding highlights a crucial but often overlooked fact: where you live can influence how your brain ages. If you can, give real thought to where you live, he advises. And if you don't have control over that, which is true for most people, take steps to protect yourself from polluted air. Everyday actions that make a difference when driving through heavy traffic. Roll up your windows and use the car's air recirculation feature to avoid inhaling exhaust fumes. If you live in a polluted area, invest in a high-quality air filter, especially for the rooms where you spend the most time, like your bedroom and kitchen. We don't want to reach a point like some parts of China or Mexico. Dr. Dorsey warns where children color the sky brown instead of blue, or where schools need domes so kids can play soccer without breathing toxic air. Improving air quality isn't just a government responsibility. It starts at home, with small, consistent actions that can help you and your family live longer, healthier lives. Limit your exposure to chemicals and pesticides. Protecting your brain also means protecting your environmental inputs. Avoid using herbicides or pesticides, especially those containing glyphosate. Choose organic produce when possible, and wash fruits and vegetables thoroughly before eating. Learn where your food comes from. Ask about how and where it was grown. If you work in construction, agriculture, or dry cleaning, wear protective clothing and push for safer alternatives in your workplace. If you suspect water contamination, install a high-quality filter at home. Yes, these steps require time and effort, but, as Dr. Dorsey stresses, they're worth it. Diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's are, to a degree, preventable, he says. It's better to take care of the air you breathe, the water you drink, and the food you eat than to face disease later in life. A neurologist's perspective, Dr. Dorsey admits he often notices Parkinson's symptoms in strangers as he travels. When I see someone with Parkinson's, he says, I get angry because I believe it's largely preventable. I know the suffering that person, their friends, and their family will face. Most of it doesn't have to happen. While some suffering is inevitable, needless suffering isn't. And that's why taking action now is so vital. Take action in your 40s and 50s. If you're between 40 and 60, this is the critical window to act. Cut out processed and junk foods. Reevaluate your lifestyle habits. Protect your brain through clean air, healthy food, regular exercise, and adequate sleep. You're not too old to change, and you're still young enough to prevent decline before it starts. Protecting your brain. Why neurologists say it's more urgent than ever, according to the World Health Organization. More than 6 million Americans are currently living with Alzheimer's disease. By 2030, nearly 1 million are expected to be diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. These alarming statistics are echoed by Dr. Ray Dorsey, a professor of neurology at the University of Rochester and author of Ending Parkinson's Disease. Dr. Dorsey emphasizes that for anyone over 40, protecting brain health should be a top priority, because the greatest threats are already advancing silently. 1 in 3 people who live to age 85 will develop Alzheimer's, he explains. Put another way, if you and your spouse both reach 85, there is more than a 50% chance that at least one of you will have Alzheimer's disease. Parkinson's, meanwhile, is the world's fastest-growing brain disorder. In the U.S. alone, 200 people are diagnosed every day, and another 100 die with the disease. Globally, brain diseases have now become the leading cause of disability, surpassing cancer, heart disease, and infectious illnesses. Brain diseases may start outside the brain. You might be surprised to learn that conditions like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's don't necessarily begin near the brain. In many cases, they originate in the gut or the sinuses, where early damage may occur years before symptoms appear. Both diseases are linked to the misfolding of specific proteins, a biological malfunction that spreads slowly and disrupts neural pathways. In 2003, Dr. Aiko Brack, a German pathologist, proposed the now famous Brock hypothesis, which suggests that Parkinson's disease begins outside the brain, particularly in the gut and nasal passages. Constipation, for instance, affects about 80% of people with Parkinson's and often appears long before diagnosis. Similarly, exposure through the nasal passages, especially to airborne toxins, may trigger the early stages of the disease. Environmental toxins. A hidden cause building on this idea, Dr. Dorsey identifies environmental toxins as the leading cause of Parkinson's today. Chemicals like paraquat, a pesticide, and trichloroethylene, TC, a solvent used in dry cleaning and manufacturing, are major culprits. These substances, still legal and widely used in the US, though banned in many European countries, can seep into the air, soil, and groundwater, exposing people at work, at home, and even in their own backyards. These chemicals contaminate groundwater across the US, including at Camp Lejeune. Dr. Dorsey notes they renowned to cause cancer and likely increase the risk of Parkinson's disease. The damage unfolds slowly, sometimes over decades, before symptoms such as tremors, stiffness, and slowed movement emerge. Everyday steps to protect brain health. While these statistics sound grim, there are practical steps you can take to protect your brain and reduce risk. 1. Drink coffee. Seriously, caffeine blocks adenosine receptors, which help regulate dopamine, a neurotransmitter crucial for motor function and mood. By maintaining dopamine activity, caffeine may delay or reduce neurological decline. Research shows that regular coffee drinkers, especially men, have a 25 to 30% lower risk of developing Parkinson's. Caffeine also reduces inflammation in the brain, which plays a key role in both Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. This isn't speculation, says Dr. Dorsey. It's backed by solid data. 1 to 2 cups of coffee a day is a simple, affordable, and effective way to support brain health, especially after 40. 2. Assess your environment. Air pollution, particularly when inhaled through the nose, is another direct pathway for toxins linked to neurodegenerative disease. Dr. Dorsey advises people to improve indoor air quality whenever possible and to consider environmental factors when choosing where to live, especially for those diagnosed with or at risk for Parkinson's. Most people can't control where they live, he acknowledges. But if you have Parkinson's or are planning for retirement, think carefully about your environment. To bottom line, brain health is under silent assault from aging, from environmental toxins, and from modern lifestyles. But by staying informed, reducing toxic exposures, and building small protective habits like drinking coffee and maintaining clean air, you can make a meaningful difference in preserving your cognitive well-being for decades to come.